knives and tools for over 25 years. Next level gear.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk to Jasper, and he's going to tell us a lot about his collection of knives, Lionsteel in particular, and he's going to tell us how he has become the expert at knives and tools, or let's say the knife conscience of the company. Take it away.
Well, thank you for these kind words. Today we're going to dive into part of my collection, and more specifically the Lionsteel knives that I own. I paid for all these with my own money, which is good to know, I think. Not that you work at Knives and Tools, you get all these knives for free. That's not the case. I think, let's start off with the first Lionsteel knife that I bought.
Yes.
Shortly after I started working here, I think.
How long ago?
I started working here 9.5 years ago. And I think this one was released 9 or 8 years ago. This is the Lionsteel TRE, or Tre, as they say themselves, I think. This is the one with titanium handles, blue backspacer, blue pocket clip. This was actually the first higher end knife that I purchased. For the real knife nerds, this is the one still with the satin finish. After that first batch, they started doing it in a stone washed finish, but this one's still satin, which I quite like. This is just a knife that really appeals to me. The nice milled titanium is really great. M390 steel, can't go wrong with that. The blade shape, it's very functional. It's not too big, not too small. You can remove the thumb stud or the flipper, which I never do because I don't live in Germany.
Yep.
And I have it with a small lanyard to make it a little bit easier to pull out of your pocket. So doesn't get as much pocket time as it should probably, because I have a lot of knives, so it's hard to have favorites there. But I still think this is a great knife, and a great knife for the price as well.
Yeah. And do you know that I still remember that when you got this knife, you came and showed it to me, it was like 8 years ago or something. And what I really liked about it is basically the sound the locking mechanism makes. Like when it clicks into lock, and now you're doing it really fast, when you do it slowly. I still remember you coming over, showing me, and I remember you introducing me to higher quality knives like this, and it's really awesome. And you said that a knife designer helps you find this correct or this version.
Yeah. So when I wanted to get one, we had Dirk de Wit, who designed our Grailer, Grailer 1 and Grailer 3. He came into the showroom because he wanted to get one, and was like, okay, this guy builds knives of a real high quality, so I asked him to together with me to get one of the best ones. He was like, oh yeah, these three are all great, so just pick one. So I got this one. We're happy with that.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah. So, shall we go on to the next one?
Yeah, well, talking about Grailer, that's probably a good one to go on with. And this is one that's not branded Lionsteel, at least, well, there is a logo on the inside. But it's not a Lionsteel knife as such. This is the Grailer 1, designed by Dirk de Wit. This is our first venture into having our own production knife here at Knives and Tools.
Yeah.
So Dirk makes this one as a custom knife, or used to make this model. We got that model to be produced by Lionsteel with titanium handle, M390 blade. And this is a customized one by Dirk with a inlay from New Zealand, Punamu greenstone.
If you say so.
Really like.
Yeah.
So this one is unique, and Dirk also made a custom hollow grind on this. So it combines like the Italian with the Dutch quality, and this is a special one because there's no single knife like this one.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Grailers around, like a couple hundred, but not like this one.
Yeah. And it's a really thick blade as well.
Yeah. It's 4.5 millimeters, I think.
Yeah.
Features one of Dirk's innovations with the pivot that doesn't need Loctite, but there's a counter screw in there that holds the pivot screw in place, so you don't need Loctite for a smooth action. I've never actually, I've got this one for 7 or 8 years as well now, and I've never even had to disassemble it to clean it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Teflon, and Teflon will just go and go and go.
Yeah.
Teflon often gets a bad rep, but this is just, there's nothing wrong with this.
And perhaps we could tell a little bit about where the name Grailer comes from. So I really like the idea behind it. Because
Yeah, so the name Grailer comes from the idea of having a grill knife. Many people get the thing like, oh yeah, if I ever win the lottery, I'm gonna get that knife or that knife, or I really want to get into the books of that maker, but that maker doesn't make as many knives as he should or could, so I cannot just go out and buy that knife. But I really want to get it, so we get those grill knives that you cannot just buy, or not so easy to obtain. Have them produced at a really high quality and then make them available for a bigger group of people. So they're still not cheap knives, they're still very, very good, but at least you can buy them, as long as we have them in stock.
yeah.
So this one you cannot buy anymore currently. It's sold out pretty rapidly, the production version.
Yeah. There is a new version coming out, the Grailer 4, from a different knife designer.
Yeah.
It will be, I hope we can launch it in September.
Yeah.
We'll do a big thing around it. We're really proud of it, a really fun brand to design stuff for and create things that are available to the bigger public compared to the custom knives. And you're always really involved with the production or with the design process as well, right?
Yeah, I try to work with the designers, with the engineer that does the drawings for us, with the factory, judging prototypes, making decisions on certain design choices and certain finishing choices as well. So yeah, it's always fun to work on.
Yeah,
it's like
really cool.
Like a pet project within the company.
Yeah, really cool. So stay tuned for the Grailer 4 coming in September.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, well, the next Lionsteel knife that I bought was actually this fixed blade. This is the Lionsteel M5. And I bought it because I went to New Zealand in 2017. And for that I needed a camping knife because we went hiking for a couple of days, like a multi-day hike, and for the rest of the trip as well. So I wanted a knife with enough blade length so that you could actually use it for some survival type or bigger camping type tasks if we needed to. You never know what you end up with if you're high in the mountains and there's no roads out of there. Luckily I've not had to use it for crazy stuff yet, but it's good to have a tool with you that you get some confidence out of. Actually, when I got it, I made a custom leather sheath for it as well myself, with a fire steel loop, but I don't need to use this one with a fire steel anymore, so it's now back into the factory leather sheath, which I really like. I really like the quality sheath that they do with the double stitching, Italian leather, nice molded shape to it. They do a really great job at their fixed blades. That's one of the places Lionsteel really excels at.
Yeah. What kind of steel is it?
This is Sleipner steel, so that's like a it's somewhat like D2, but then with a much more improved edge retention, but it's still very sturdy. It's not 100% stainless, like nearly no steel is 100% stainless, but still. And the handle on this one is an olive wood, and once I take it out now I see that I have to oil it again. It's a bit dry.
Does it still smell like olive?
Hey, you tell me. I think it does.
Ah, yeah, it does. Yeah, love it. Love it. Is there a reason why you chose olive and not G10 or anything?
I just like wood. I mean, my dad was a carpenter, so I always learned like a good tool has a wooden handle to it. So that's how I started with it. But
You know what I always think is funny about the Lionsteel fixed blades, and especially the M5 and the M4? When we go to trade shows and we sell a lot of products, we always have customers walking up to us and testing different fixed blades, and all of them test all kinds of knives, and then in the end they say, "Oh, these are really great. I'll have the M5." Yeah.
Or the M4.
Or the M4. Yeah,
it's a nice milling pattern on the handle as well. It's really really special. I mean, it's easy to just smooth it out, but it's nicer to have it nice and adds a little bit of grip. Then after that, I actually bought this one. This is the Lionsteel Barlow. I think it's the shuffler with this sheep's foot blade. They call it the shuffler, with the ram's horn handle. And I actually bought this second hand because we didn't sell this knife back then, because they only became available to dealers last year. I really wanted to get one because I like Barlow knives. I even named my dog Barlow, so well, there you go. So this is a M390 blade, titanium bolsters, ram's horn handle. And it's just a really nice, modern, traditional. It's well nice and snappy.
Yeah, and the rounded top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a Lionsteel thing. All
Yeah.
the Lionsteel blades on the table here, they always have a rounded spine, a rounded crown on the spring as well. Everything is always nice and rounded. And I think that's especially great to notice at like a transition here between the bolster and the natural ram's horn handle. I mean, you cannot really control how a ram's horn looks like. But you have to have this transition, but because they do like a heritage type fit with the beveled edges and stuff, that makes sure that's always good for production knives. So that's one I recently bought, but they now are now available at Knives and Tools as well. I'm really happy with that. So I'm probably gonna extend that collection a bit in the near future. Yeah.
Which handle type?
I'm not sure. I have this one in ram's horn. I want to have a different blade shape, and I might get olive wood then. But they also do a green micarta. I do carbon fiber as well.
Yeah.
But they also do like a really nice green micarta, and I really like micarta as well. Final Lionsteel knife that I have is one that I bought last year. I got a little bit more into lightweight hiking because this is very nice, but if you try to reduce the weight in your pack, then
that's where you start. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's always easy to say, well, just bring a folding knife, but in the UK you're not allowed to have a locking blade with you, even while you go camping. So last year I went to Scotland and I wanted to get like a lighter weight knife than the M5, preferably a locking pocket knife, but you cannot bring that in the UK. So I wanted to have a lightweight fixed blade, so I started to compare different knives to each other, see which one had the lowest base weight. So then I landed on the Lionsteel M1 because it's nice M390 steel, really stainless. I opted for the orange G10 because it's easier to find back in your tent.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, plus G10 is a bit more resistant to the rain. And as you know, in Scotland it might rain.
It might.
Yeah, it might. So we wanted to get something that's less prone to rust if you just throw it in the pack and just, if you don't use it for 2 days, then it's still okay.
Yeah.
And I felt that with Sleipner and an olive wood handle and a leather sheath. Yeah. So I made this Kydex sheath for it myself. Got a nice blade tag, pull the dot, belt loop on it. And there's a fire steel loop on here as well that I'll just put my Hulterforce flint in. Because the spine on this, believe it or not, will actually scrape a fire steel, even though it's rounded off at the top. So that's really great. You still have a nice 4-finger grip on it. There's a lanyard there to help you with pulling it out of the sheath. But it's just a really nice fixed blade knife. Like, I really hate carving with a slip joint, because if you have to, for instance, if you lose a tent peg, or you break a tent peg, or you bend a tent peg, so you want to make a new tent peg out of a stick, then I hate carving with a slip joint knife when you're outdoors, because if you then do whatever and the knife snaps on you and you have to take bandages and stuff. Yeah. So I wanted,
it's more weight, I can imagine.
well, if you cut off your finger, you lose weight.
You lose weight. Yeah.
So it's like a risk versus whatever equation. Like, you don't want to take that risk, so take a fixed blade. And I think just by heart this is 75 grams, so it's not that heavy. Yeah. The Kydex sheath does add a bit of weight, but I think it's still lighter than the leather sheath it comes with. And I'm already planning a more lighter weight version of this sheath to try to lower that weight even more for your hiking. And then this year I brought it as well to Scotland, and we had no rain at all, so that was could have brought my M5.
Bring it every time now. Do you sharpen it while being on the road?
During hiking I try not to, because that's another stone to bring. So that's why I take M390, because it has really great edge retention. So as long as you don't do stupid stuff like cutting on a rock or whatever, or on steel, then you should be good. If you just do food and wood, you can last for a week or so, or 2, or whatever.
And when you, do you sharpen these, or what do you sharpen them on at home?
Well, I have the luxury of using wicked edge sharpeners at work.
The perks.
So there's no point in me buying a wicked edge sharpener for at home. There's a small learning curve to it. I remember that one of the first times I used a wicked edge sharpener, I tried to sharpen my TRE. And that's when I dug into the plunge line over here, which is like a permanent reminder to be careful while sharpening. I do have a DMT aligner set at home, which is a simple, relatively cheap set. It's less than 100 euros, I think. But if you have the luxury of using a full-size Wicked Edge or the Worksharp Precision Adjust Pro, I really like that one as well. You just use that for these. They're great.
The really cool thing is that we have a great bond with Lionsteel. Jasper, because he's a supporter of the brand, and one might even say an investor in the brand. And this year they're coming to the Have a Nice Day, and we are really proud and honored to have these cool people come and represent their brand. So in September, come to the Have a Nice Day. Come and talk to Jasper about his Lionsteels and his dog, and come and talk to Lionsteel themselves, because they are awesome. Thanks for your time, Jasper.
Thanks for having me and for having me blab on about my ridiculous knife collection.
Thank you. Yep.